are the single most powerful tool in the prevention of injuries and fatalities involving powered haulage vehicles and conveyor belts and equipment in the mining environment. Whether you drive and operate the powered haulage vehicle or install, maintain, and repair conveyor belts, you must be alert, ready, identify, and eliminate all hazards. You have the power in your hands to save lives and to build a safe workplace. Now, you may be tempted to say, "Hey, buddy, we all know this. Tell us something we don't know." Well, you may indeed know you have the power, but are you working in a safe manner and demanding that other miners do the same with all powered haulage equipment and conveyor belt systems? It would be easy to simply take a few MSHA fatalgrams and just focus on those recorded causes of powered haulage and conveyor belt injuries and fatalities. In this program, we are choosing to move beyond fatalgram documented incidents and to focus on how to prevent any and all powered haulage and belt conveyor injuries and fatalities. Let's first start with powered haulage vehicles. There are numerous causes of haul truck and equipment fatalities. Listen closely. Limited visibility from the operator's cab, collisions with smaller vehicles, operating too close to high walls or faces, damaged or inadequate berms or travelways, haul truck rollovers, failure to wear seat belts, speed too great for existing conditions, and malfunction or misuse of vehicle braking systems are leading causes of injuries and fatalities. Okay, so now open your safety toolbox and let's examine safe operating practices by both haul truck operators and mine supervisors to prevent large vehicles from hitting smaller vehicles. Mine operators and supervisors must require that haul trucks and smaller vehicles park in separate parking areas. Because of visibility limitations for the operator in the cab of the haul truck, smaller vehicles must never, repeat, never park beside or behind haul trucks or other large mobile equipment. Okay, operators, after you have verified the haul truck parking area is clear of persons or smaller vehicles, the operator should back or drive the truck into the parking space, and then when ready for another shift, for best visibility, drive the truck forward out of the space. If there is a slope or a grade in the parking area, then the operator should chock or block the haul truck wheels according to MSHA Regulation 56.14207. Mine supervisors, through adequate and detailed site-specific hazard training, you must require that drivers of smaller vehicles observe all traffic pattern signs and speed limits on haul truck travelways. Smaller vehicles must obey changing traffic pattern signage and never be in the pathway of a larger haul truck. Haul truck operators must be trained to obey all speed limits and to slow or adjust the vehicle speed in the event of rain, sleet, snow, or any condition requiring slower speeds. Mine supervisors must require that drivers of smaller vehicles never get into the pathway of a haul truck when it is either backing to unload at a crusher or pulling away from the crusher. Smaller vehicles must avoid being in the roadways that haul trucks use to enter and depart from materials loading areas. You must also train drivers of smaller vehicles to stay a safe distance away from mobile equipment and haul trucks as raw materials are being loaded into haul trucks. Mobile equipment, haul trucks, and falling raw materials all pose significant dangers to occupants of smaller vehicles. An additional safeguard can be created if mine owners and operators install collision warning and avoidance systems on haul trucks. Many of these systems use laser scanners that will detect smaller vehicles, other mobile equipment, stationary equipment or objects, and even the edges of travelways or the proximity of a face or a high wall drop-off. Install collision avoidance systems to provide yet another level of safety for powered haulage vehicles. Another major cause of powered haulage injuries or fatalities is failure of operators to wear seat belts. Supervisors and haul truck operators must create and follow safe seat belt practices. First, there must be a seat belt installed in the vehicle. Second, the operator must wear the seat belt at all times while in the cab. Third, warning systems such as chimes can remind operators to buckle up. And finally, interlock systems can be installed that prevent the vehicle from moving if the seat belt is not buckled properly. Task training and periodic retraining of haul truck operators must cover proper use of braking systems, vehicle rollover avoidance, and proper distances from the edge of roadways and high walls and mine faces. During task training and during refresher training, mine supervisors and trainers absolutely must verify and document that haul truck operators know how to use the braking system. This training will include proper stopping distance for the vehicle loaded and unloaded, use of the primary and the auxiliary braking systems, and during vehicle pre-shift inspections, taking the vehicle out of service immediately if the operator identifies a brake system safety defect. Supervisors and trainers must teach haul truck operators and loader operators to know and confirm that the loaded weight limits of each vehicle and what they are, depending on the size of the vehicle. In addition to always maintaining the proper loaded weight, the loader mobile equipment operator must be instructed to inspect the loaded raw materials in the bed of the truck. This inspection must confirm that the load is correctly balanced and that excess materials are not improperly placed in the sides of the bed or in any position that make the vehicle unstable during loading, transport, and unloading. Now, if any unsafe condition is discovered, the haul truck and the loader operator must be trained to have the loader operator properly balance the load in the truck bed before the operator leaves the loading site. Task training of operators must identify and specify safe practices for keeping vehicles the proper distances from the edges of roadways and travelways per MSHA Regulation 56.9300B. The mine operator must have berms built to the mid-axle height of the largest haul truck or equipment, which usually travels the mine roadways. These berms must be kept in proper condition, and if there is damage to a berm or a missing part of a berm, it must be reported and repaired immediately. Properly constructed and maintained berms along roadways are an absolute must for operator and vehicle safety. In addition to this, trainers must instruct operators to follow company rules about the proper distance to not only keep haul trucks from the edges of roadways, but also from the edge of mine high walls and faces. Many fatalities have occurred when dumping raw materials. Haul truck operators have driven the vehicle too close to the edge of a high wall or face, and the vehicle has either rolled over at the top of the area or even gone over the edge of the high wall or face. Now, let's shift our focus from haulage vehicles to the hazards and safe work practices needed to avoid injuries and fatalities around conveyor systems, another form of powered haulage and mining. Some of the leading causes of conveyor system injuries and fatalities are failure to lock out, tag out, and try out conveyors during inspection, repair, and/or replacement, inadequate guarding on conveyor systems, failure to replace guards after repair or maintenance, failure to have proper emergency stop cords on the system, attempting to climb on or improperly cross a conveyor system, failure to install and maintain audible warning devices on conveyors, and inadequate or failure to task train miners to work on conveyor belts. Failure to properly lock out, tag out, and try out energy sources on conveyors often occurs because power terminals or controls are a long distance from the conveyor belt. Additionally, miners may think, hey, this will only take a second. I know what I'm doing, so I'm not going to waste time trying to lock out the belt when I could be fixing it and move on. To protect your body and yes, even your life, in the event of an inspection, large or small repair, an adjustment to a belt that may be sliding on rollers, testing a roller that is rubbing against the belt, or diagnosing a malfunctioning head or tail pulley, don't ever fail to first properly lock out, tag out, and try out power to the conveyor system before starting any such work. Remember, a serious injury or fatality may occur for failure to lock out, tag out, and try out. Inadequate guarding on a conveyor at the head pulley or the tail pulley may occur because it wasn't reinstalled after work was performed on the conveyor system. Lack of proper guarding may be the result of the system not being designed properly, and so guarding was never installed. Unfortunately, many conveyor belt counterweights may shift in height, and as a result, the guarding is not correct to prevent human contact with the counterweight. Always properly reinstall conveyor guarding after inspection, maintenance, or replacement of conveyor system parts or equipment. And when conveyor belts are first constructed, be certain that guarding has been designed for and installed properly. Finally, always properly inspect conveyor counterweights and make absolutely sure guarding is in place. When a belt is stopped and de-energized, often workers or miners are tempted to simply climb on and then over the conveyor belt. So let's ask the question, have you ever ridden a moving conveyor belt? Where are you going to get off the moving conveyor belt? What are you going to do if your clothing is caught between the belt and the rollers? Well, the answers should simply be combined into these responses. I am not ever going to cross a belt at an improper location. I don't know where I would try to get off the belt. I don't know how I would remove myself if my clothing were caught between the rollers and the belt. I'm not ever going to be guilty of this behavior. Only cross a belt at a designated, properly designed and installed crossover. And if you see any defect or improper guarding at the crossover stairway, report it immediately. Startup audible alarms should be properly installed and functioning on conveyor systems, according to MSHA Regulation 56.14200. Keep in mind, the audible alarm must be loud enough to be heard over noise generated in the mine and along the conveyor, also known as the surrounding noise level. After the audible alarm sounds, ensure that there is a delay in the belt startup motion to give all personnel time to stand clear of the belt. Again, if there is no properly functioning audible alarm system, report this condition immediately. Finally, only assign miners or contractors to conveyor system work if they have been thoroughly task trained in this type of work and they have proof of this task training. Would you have one of your employees or your contractors work on repairing a jet engine or a railroad engine without proper training? Well, then why would you have them work on a conveyor system without proper training? Head pulleys, tail pulleys, moving belts, rollers, and energy sources for conveyor belts require a knowledge of potential hazards, how to properly lock out, tag out, and try out energy sources, experience in using the proper tools for the task, and an understanding of how to repair, replace, or install parts for the actual conveyor system. Don't assume that an individual knows all of these things. Verify that they've been trained and are experienced in conveyor system work to prevent injuries and, yes, even deaths. In closing this training session, realize that in certain years, U.S. mining powered haulage fatalities have amounted to a total of 1/2 of the deaths in a single year in mining. If you are a mine owner, operator, or supervisor, you must continuously train both haul truck operators and miners who work on and operate conveyor systems. Proper operation methods, safe work practices, and continuous awareness of hazards must be identified and emphasized. Everyone should take an active role in preventing injuries and fatalities in powered haulage and mining.